Next on Worcester News tonight, snow hits Central Mass. How much should we expect? And the town of Auburn deals with multiple water main breaks. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim McCone. We start with the weather. A storm hitting Central Mass tonight. Here is a live look outside the Charter TV 3 studios. As you can see, there's currently freezing rain coming down, and we're expecting a mix of snow and freezing rain. Now, the city of Worcester has put a parking ban into place. It went into effect at 6 p.m. There's a coating of snow on the roads at this hour as well, but this storm will also bring warm air, a drastic change from the dangerously cold temperatures we've been experiencing. We'll have a complete check of the local forecast with meteorologist Pete Bouchard in just a bit. This weekend's bitter cold temperatures led to plenty of frozen pipes across Central Mass. Our Andy Madison has the story.
Massachusetts got put in a deep freeze this weekend.
It was freezing. I think my car went down to -11.
The cold temperature is causing frozen ponds, frozen faces.
I'm actually just finishing up one.
And frozen pipes.
It's just a burst pipe on an outside wall. So shut the water off, cut it, put a repair coupling, and that's it.
Plumbers like Peter McLean were busy this weekend. In one case, even using antifreeze didn't work.
It was so cold this weekend, it actually froze. The antifreeze is good to -22 degrees, and it got colder than that, and the pipes actually froze.
So what should you do if your pipes freeze? The fire department recommends using a hairdryer or a hot towel to warm up the pipes. Turning the faucet on slightly can also help. Just be careful of what happens when the temperature rises.
If it thaws too quickly, it could also burst the pipe. As you know, when water becomes ice, it expands, things move. Plumbing isn't really that forgiving with stuff freezing.
It's an unfortunate element of winter that was felt in a lot of places during this weekend's record-setting chill.
It hasn't been this cold, I think, for like 10 years. I had a barn freeze up, and that actually had antifreeze too.
It should have been like this in December during like Christmas and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Why do you do this to us?
Firefighters and plumbers we spoke with stressed not to use a blowtorch when dealing with a frozen pipe. It is supposed to be significantly warmer tomorrow, and the dramatic change in temperature could also have an impact on pipes. Andy Madison, Worcester News Tonight.
The town of Auburn dealing with two separate water main breaks Monday. The initial water main break occurred on Southbridge Street near the town's library. Crews responded shortly before 4 this afternoon. The northbound lane of Route 12 had been shut down in the area. The break actually pushed the road up nearly 2 feet. The contractor was called to the scene. The second break happened later in the evening, about a half-mile down from the first. It's not clear at this time what caused either break. Boston police need your help finding a missing man from the town of Harvard. Police say 22-year-old Zachary Marr went missing early Saturday morning at a bar near Faneuil Hall. Alicia Palumbo has more on Marr's disappearance.
A desperate search is on for this man, 22-year-old Zachary Marr of Harvard, Massachusetts, last seen outside the Bell in Hand in Boston just before 2 a.m. Saturday.
Big concern is there's no contact. This really kind of isn't him, you know what I'm saying?
Marr's father, Matthew, says his son doesn't know Boston well, but went into the city to celebrate his birthday with 3 of his cousins. This is a photo taken of him that night.
We miss him, and it's a lot of people working for him. We're trying to take all angles, any angle possible, whether it be the good and the bad.
Marr's cousin Amanda says they were hanging out at the Bell in Hand, and just before 1:30 a.m., Marr stepped outside to smoke a cigarette, not grabbing his coat because it was in the coat check.
He sent me a Snapchat saying, they're not letting me back in, let's leave. I texted him and said, where are you? And he said, out front, and that was at 1:41.
Marr is seen in these surveillance photos from around that time from the Boston Public Market across the street. But when Amanda and her cousins grabbed their coats and got outside about 10 minutes later, they couldn't find him.
The first 2 times we called him, it rang and a few times and went to voicemail, and then the 3rd time it went straight to voicemail, and we never found him.
Relatives have spent the past 3 days passing out missing posters, calling hospitals, and chasing down possible leads as to where Marr may have gone after leaving the Bell in Hand.
Some sort of call, something. They just need some sign. It's what I need.
Marr was last seen on surveillance across the street from the Bell in Hand, walking in the direction of the north end. He was wearing jeans, a dark-colored striped shirt, and a dark pullover sweater. If you have any information on Zachary Marr's whereabouts, you're asked to call Boston Police. In Boston, Alicia Palumbo, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester firefighters responded to 3 fires within a few hours on Sunday night when conditions were brutally cold. Patricia Nicholas has more on the frigid conditions firefighters had to deal with while battling those fires.
This whole neighborhood was shut down. There was fire trucks, police. It was really bad. And then they couldn't do much with the cold and all, so the house just turned into a big block of ice, as you see.
Lucas Carvalho lives near the Henry Street home where fire broke out Sunday night. He says he could see the flames from the 2-story multi-family home.
It was pretty hectic.
The fire on Henry Street displaced 5 people. It was one of 3 fires Sunday night. The first on Pineland Ave displaced 1 person. Sunday was the coldest day in the city in more than 50 years. The Worcester Fire Department says the weather was the biggest challenge.
Obviously, the equipment had a rough time with the cold. Not so much hydrant problems today or last night, but mostly cold, the equipment and the apparatus freezing out.
The same crews and equipment responded shortly after to a blaze at this triple-decker on Preston Street. The Worcester Fire Department says it was the biggest fire of the night.
I made the call from the beginning that this was going to be a defensive fire, meaning we're not going to go inside. And so we set up our big guns and just kind of soaked it down.
The home on Preston Street is a total loss. It will be demolished. Worcester Fire says after a night like last night, it's a blessing no one was seriously hurt.
We had a couple of firefighters take some slips and falls and bumps and bruises, but no major injuries, so that's a blessing.
Patricia Nicholas, Worcester News Tonight.
This Auburn man is due in court tomorrow for his alleged 6th drunk driving offense. Auburn police say 41-year-old Scott Tatro of Worcester was found stopped in an industrial park not far from a hit-and-run accident on Route 20 in Auburn last night. Police say Tatro told them that he hadn't had a license for the past 15 years but kept driving because he didn't care. As police were booking Tatro, they discovered he had an outstanding arrest warrant. An outpouring of support for a popular teacher and radio broadcaster. He found out weeks ago his kidney disease has gotten worse. Now, his school and community are rallying behind him as he considers his treatment options. Our Brittany Schaefer has the story.
Matt Morway hasn't taken a sick day in his 12 years of teaching at Shepherd Hill Regional High School. The veteran teacher and broadcaster is facing his biggest challenge. He's battling severe kidney disease.
Much sooner than later, I'm going to need a transplant. The unfortunate thing for me is that I don't have any immediate family eligible to donate.
3 years ago, when Morway was diagnosed, he says he decided to start the kidney disease diet.
I was a maximum of about 290 pounds. So I lost about 130 pounds total.
In spite of his efforts, his kidney disease progressed to stage 4, leaving him with 2 options: long-term dialysis or a kidney transplant.
So he told my parents at one of my basketball games, and they told me on the way home in the car, and I got really sad and I started crying because he's like one of my best friends.
Jack Heatherman is a junior at Shepherd Hill and a family friend of Morway. He says the entire school is helping raise money for his transplant.
The basketball team, the football team, all the other sports teams, the show choir at our school, the band, all have set out to raise money. They put up things on social media and just get the word out there for him.
A former student of Morway's has set up a GoFundMe page to help raise money for the procedure and to help raise awareness for a possible donor. The page's goal was $5,000, and so far it has reached more than $20,000.
I've always looked at it as kind of a one-way street. I like to do things for kids, give things to kids, but it's never an expect anything in return type of thing. No. I don't know how to thank all those people.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Oxford Fire Chief Sherry Bemis is awarded the 2015 Fire Chiefs Leadership in Fire Education Award. The president of the Massachusetts Association of Fire and Safety Educators says Chief Bemis recognizes that the success of her department lay not only with the number of emergency responses they manage, but also with how involved they are in community risk reduction programs. The award was created to honor fire chiefs for excellence in leadership of community fire education efforts.